question for you. Have you ever been on a conference call that was rubbish? Or been to a meeting and thought, why am I here again? Or been to a presentation and looked when the first slide comes on with lots of tiny, minuscule words and you think, well, this is going to be rubbish. And you're already beginning to look at the presenter and think, do you know what? I'm losing the will for you to live. Not me, I'm just not so sure about you. So the trouble with communication is most of it isn't very good. I mean, you know when you look at your diary at the beginning of a day and you think, when am I supposed to be productive here? I've got back-to-back meetings. I know from experience at least 3/4 of them will be rubbish. It's very hard to get it right. Now, the great news is, actually, there are only 3 steps to getting it right. So although it seems very hard, and although it seems there's nothing you can do, there are only 3 things you need to do to get it right. And that's the purpose of this month. I'm going to show you what these 3 steps are, and then how to apply it to every single communication that you do. And when you get this right, the results are amazing. So, for instance, I did some work recently with a group of 250 leaders, showed them how to communicate more effectively. We tracked what happened as a result, and they had all sorts of benefits, but a great one for you, I guess, is to hear, on average, they were saving 4 hours a week each. That's 250 people saving 4 hours a week each. I mean, 1,000 leadership hours a week to an organisation. Do the maths, that's a pretty valuable thing. And I also worked with a group of lawyers recently. On average, their weekly meetings used to take 52 minutes, their internal catch-up meetings. 52 minutes, total waste of time. By the time we finished, these 52 minutes were taking 14 minutes. Well, as you know, lawyers charge by the minute, so freeing this up every week is pretty useful. But it's not just the corporate benefits it brings, it's the individual ones. Imagine if every single time you wrote an email, people just hit reply and gave you the answer you wanted. And imagine if every single time you did a meeting, instead of it being an hour-long diatribe rubbish, it was just like 5, 10, 15 punchy minutes that caused the actions you want and you could just get on with your day job. Imagine if every time you wrote a report, instead of having those planning meetings, well, people call them planning meetings, I think a better title is guessing meetings, where you just sit there and guess, what should we write, what should we put down, how do we start? Imagine if all that went, and you could just create 2 or 3 pages of brilliant stuff that got people to do what you want. That's what this month's all about. Now, if we're going to create communications that work like this, we're going to have to do things differently than the way the world does them. And think what the world does. I mean, when people write an email, what do? They start with the title, which is usually a bit dull, like, you know, FYI, or miscellaneous, or or my personal favourite, totally blank. And then they just write the email line, 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, 5. They just carry on going, press send, and they think that'll do. Or they're doing a meeting and they think, right, what do we want to talk about here? Let's get the agenda items. Who should we invite? We'll invite everyone who might have a say, because that'll speed things up. And then they have the meeting. It lasts an hour because that's what Outlook says must be an hour. And then it doesn't work very well. Or they do a report or a proposal. They think, what do we need to put in here? With a presentation, what do we need to say? This is how people create communication, but yet you know it doesn't work because most communications you see don't work. There has to be a better way. Now, if you look at the common elements of how people communicate, in effect, they say this: what shall I say? So when they do an email, they think, what should I write in this email? When they do a report, they think, what should I write in this report? When they do a presentation, they think, what content shall I have? Or, usually, what slides have I got that I can shoehorn in this time? When they're having a conversation, they think, what are the main points to cover? So people always make the mistake with communication of thinking, what is it I want to say? Now, why do I say it's a mistake? Well, communication is supposed to cause something. No, that's the point of it. Now, I would love you to love this video, and I would love you to love me and think I'm great, but you know what really matters? Is when you turn the video off, what's it going to cause? Are your emails going to be better? Are your meetings going to be better? Are your presentations going to be better? Are your reports going to be better? Your conversations, your website, your marketing material, whatever it is. If it's better as a result of this video, the video's worked. And if it isn't, then it hasn't. So with communication, it's not what you say, it's what you cause. It's not what you say, it's what you cause. So when you send an email, do you cause people to respond straight away? When you have a meeting, does it cause actions? When you have a conference call, does it cause anything apart from utter tedium and boredom? That's what we're doing this month. By the end of this month, I'm going to show you these 3 simple steps, which means that every single time you speak, whether it's writing or verbal, whatever it is, people do the thing you want.